All right, this is We the People News. Not attorney, not giving legal advice. Educational purposes only. All right? Never just look straight forward. Always look around and be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Use the Second Amendment. Arm yourself with knowledge, people. All right. Because even paperwork in court is arming yourself. Uh, there's defense, defend it, and there's offense, or prosecutors, right? So you're just arming yourself, but it's in paperwork. All right, where am I at? All right, so this is going to be two-part video in one video, just to kind of break some things down, okay? Number one, we're going to listen to this, and then we're going to listen to this, because a lot of us is too busy not understanding the old intent of the Constitution of the judicial powers, supremacy clause, right? They're not kings, and they was never intended to be kings, right? And obviously this comes from the 10th Amendment Center, if you want to check out some of his videos, and Legal Beagle over here, and they're going to be talking about codes in Arizona, mainly what that one guy's going through, and he had to educate himself, right? Or he's going to spend thousands of dollars on an attorney to find out he was guilty. Okay? I do believe that you can use the statute codes, rules, and regulations against them. Okay? So I'm not one of the ones that says you can never use them. You can use it against them. All right? And if it does apply to you, it is very thin how it actually applies to you. We just been misreading it, miscomprehending it, misimplying it due to our lack of knowledge. Okay, so let's go over here and check this out. Oh, by the way, this had to do with right here some issues he had on his property. Code enforcement officers, you know, like your grass being 12 inches high and all that kind of stuff. Well, the city has no authority to even regulate that. Okay, now they do have some form of authority of the walkway, but they're supposed to mow it. But they want to charge you to mow it or make it your responsibility. But that's what the government's job is to do, is for public safety. So they must go out and mow everybody's walkway. Don't have a sidewalk. My property don't have a sidewalk. So they're supposed to have a mower out there mowing it. We do it, but that is their job. All right, let's go.
If a judicial opinion is law just because a judge says it's law, we don't actually have a constitution. That's a big warning that we got from Lysander Spooner, and from his work, we get 5 key points. First of all, the view that judicial opinions are binding because they're judicial opinions is the definition of tyranny. 2, instead, the Constitution is supreme, not the opinions about the Constitution from anyone. 3, judicial opinions are binding only when they're in accordance with the Constitution itself. 4, every member at every level of government, federal, state, local, they all take an oath to the Constitution, not to the opinions about the Constitution of anyone. And 5,
now I'm going to pause that right there. So, for instance, the Supreme Court says that, you know, the lower courts must go by their wishes. Well, that's unconstitutional. If my local judge, per se, took the oath of office, but the Supreme Court says, well, you can't do this, that is absolutely false. Because the Supreme Court is not kings. And if it's contradicting to my standing on rights, then they cannot proceed forward in said case. Just because a higher court says they can. This is where we've just been so ignorant of even the Supreme Court rules. okay, or opinions. Okay, it's opinion. Opinion. Look up the definition. Opinions. Okay, and it's been traditionally known Marbury versus Madison. Okay, any statute, codes, rules, or regulations in conflict with the Constitution cannot be withstand. All right. So even if the Supreme Court says, well, we're allowed to take your car because we arrested you, well, no, you're not. You just violated the Fourth and Fifth Amendment. You just can't take it. However, it's been misimplied, misled, and on the benefit of government, not on the people. And that's the Supreme Court job as well, because the Constitution itself is for the government. It is not for the people. It gives our basic ideas of rights, which entitles the Ninth and 10th Amendment. Ninth Amendment, pretty much we have unlimited rights that can't be subscribed, right? We can't just put a list out there and sit and name off all our rights. But they're creating statute, codes, rules, and regulations, misleading it from a business to your hand and saying, hey, you're not man enough to walk across the street, so we must issue a citation to violate your 13th Amendment and put you in captivity slavery, okay, or financial slavery, okay, but it's still slavery. This is the reason why all these things. You got 10 years in prison, and $4,000. Well, that's financial slavery, and that's prison slavery when you're innocent. But you're not presumed innocent. You're presumed maybe not guilty, but you have to make that claim. All right? Well, once you made that claim, then the burden of proof is off them, and now you have to prove your innocence. Or you're not guilty. You got to prove it. And this is where we lie the problems of, even I, magistrate says, well, it's not really a claim. I said, well, then what is it really called? And he couldn't answer it. Because it is a claim. I claimed I'm guilty. I'm claiming I'm not guilty. I claim the other word. That's the reason why I said in other videos. I just mark all that out, put a little box in there and put presumed innocent. All right? I'm not making a claim. I'm not saying I am innocent. I'm presumed innocent. Because that's what the Constitution says for the government to do to me, to recognize I'm presumed innocent. All right.
Refusal to enforce unconstitutional acts, unconstitutional judicial opinions, unconstitutional executive orders, unconstitutional anything, isn't just a good idea. It's required by their oath. And I think Spooner nailed it best with this. He said the idea, so constantly asserted, that the permanent judiciary, the judges, have a right to decide all constitutional questions authoritatively for the people, is one of those gross impostures by which men have always been defrauded of their rights. Lysander Spooner was right. Judicial supremacy is not law. It has no basis in the Constitution. It's tyranny.
All right. There you guys go. Okay. Just saying. And that's well established. We have been just ignoring our duties to protect our standing of rights.
The real reason you're stiff after sitting.
It's a little tough.
It's because he was doing legitimate shit.
Right.
And now, I mean, fuck. If you were just coming along now and you're just getting into this, legal framework, now, I mean, so many of us have laid out laid out the structure, laid out the framework, giving everybody all kinds of stuff.
Well, this is going to be the key, right? Education. Education is what's going to bring the masses together, and it goes back to and simplified. What Jesus said was, "My people perish for lack of knowledge."
Absolutely, man. All right, so the last one in this section is 843. So it says a municipality may have a license or permit requirement for free speech or free assembly. What? So what? Right. So it says that. Now, they're converting your rights for free speech to a privilege,
and then taxing you for it.
Yeah. But not if you know that you're not a regulated person, that you're not an individual under these statutes, that you're not operating in some capacity. Well, you don't need a fucking permit. So this is how you know that all these laws right here, these state laws, they don't apply to you because they can't limit my free speech. And then, you've seen this in before where like in Texas or in, some other states where people are pissed off about something, they're protesting something, and they give them a free speech zone. And then they, here, you got to stay within these barriers to exercise your free speech. Yeah, you are a regulated person, you dipshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Free speech alley at LSU that everyone went there to protest, or whatever they wanted.
There's no loss of words, right? He's calling it out like it is. You're going out there to protest. Now, that being said, for me, all right, the First Amendment says to petition. Petitions in writing. And your redress, your grievance. Okay? That's all got to be done in writing. You're taking them into the people's court. All right? And you're to assemble. You got to get your friends to petition with you. Okay? And nowhere in the First Amendment does it actually say you have a right to protest. Okay? However, it is a usage of free speech. So that does extend the that word I just said, protest. But you got to do it in a calm and fashion manner, right? You don't want to cause chaos and this, that, here, and there, because you don't want to cause injury to any man or woman or persons out there. Anyway.
You're under our control. You got to do what we tell you to do. You got to only exercise in this little spot right here. Okay. All right. Thanks. Go fuck yourself. All right. So regulated activities. So we under statutory construction 9-801.1 we covered the code. Oh wait, sweet. I knew I had it in here somewhere. I put in the definition so that you can hear it as opposed to me just babbling it and trying to make it up. So code. It means a published compilation of rules or regulations prepared by a technical trade association and includes any building code, electrical wiring code, health or sanitation code, fire prevention code, wild urban interface code, inflammable liquids code, code for slaughtering, processing and selling meat products, or for production. Meat products or for production. Pasteurizing and sale of milk and milk products, or other code that embraces rules and regulations pertinent to a subject that is a proper subject of municipal legislation. Okay, so you tell me where that pertains to my daily activities of yelling at my dogs and growing vegetables and
having a flat tire.
And telling my kids what to do, driving them around.
Now, he may agree with me or may disagree with me, but as long as I don't get a license, it's a private contract. Hell versus Hinkle. The state's not to interfere. So if I'm like the Amish people's going through all that crap up there in New York, well, even if they're selling to another man or woman out there, well, a man and a woman is selling to another man or woman. Okay? It's a private contract. That's Hale versus Hinkle. They're allowed to do that. Okay? But what they're trying to do is condense everybody into being that subject. Okay? Now, if you want to mass produce that milk, right, to Amish, well, we're going to go ahead and send it to California and make a big corporation out of it. Well, now you got to be regulated, right? But that being said, it's really a public sales and not a private contract. Okay? By the way, there's two definitions of private. Private could be a corporation like Walmart. Then private can also be your said property without being in any form of commerce. But when you go to court and you say, hey, my private property, well, they already got you under taxation. So that private property name, when you go into court, don't use it. It's just a property. Don't use use your house, not real estate, right? Because that's private. But there's a private corporation part, not the private man and woman's